r/askreddit. What's America's biggest fuck up? Ending Southern Reconstruction after the Civil War. The problems it left are still affecting us. Allowing the formation of super PACs in 2010, which allowed corporations to buy every American politician. This is an opinion that can only be achieved in hindsight. We absolutely should not have invaded Afghanistan or Iraq after September 11th. Thousands of military deaths, 10x more civilian deaths, didn't really stop terrorism, domestic policies didn't help out too much, etc. We should have been using smaller squad military forces to find the top leaders and kill/capture them, which would have been fraction of a full invasion, and spent more time with countries/leaders to make every inch of their country an unsafe space for them. But we reacted out of fear and violence with loose plans in a matter of days, while the attacks spent a while. I understand Americans were calling for blood, I was too. We trusted our leaders to make the right decision that wouldn't destroy us in the process. Two-part fuck up, the response and the snowball afterwards. Healthcare. The fact getting sick is the #1 cause of bankruptcy is very telling. Current two-party system. A lot of problems could be mitigated if we had a system in place that accurately represented the views of the people. We are seeing the long-term effects of polarized, us versus them thinking. City planning. The cities are built for cars, not people. Some cities are nearly unwalkable, and that's just insane to think about. Letting the two-party system take hold. Not giving us real Kinder eggs. For-profit medicine. Paying to live in a medical situation is just inhumane. Allowing corporations to be treated as people. Lack of term limits and, with it, house terms only being 2 years. These folks are running the next race almost immediately after winning the last one and are too worried about keeping their job than doing what they think the best job may be, unless it 100% aligns with the base, which it often shouldn't completely. That combo has led to our current complete lack of compromise. For-profit healthcare. The intervention in the Middle East after the wake of 9/11. 20 years pushing back the Taliban and training the Afghan army, trillions spent on equipment and training, thousands of lives lost on all sides, and the Taliban shat all over that within a month. Don't even get me started on Iraq. Also, the education system favoring being able to throw or kick a ball far over everything else related to education. Central banks have to be at the top of the list. Allowing a corporation to replace the republic was related to banking. There's a political benefit to promise voters things we cannot afford while on a sinking ship floating on an ocean of debt. No worries, the unborn next generation has no say in the challenges we are going to leave to them. The us vs them mentality. Interfering in other countries. It's never turned out well and led to violent hate against us. Private, for-profit prisons. It promotes the prison pipeline and further disenfranchises marginalized communities. Not keeping education strong. Not paying educators well and not keeping colleges affordable. Politicians should not be allowed to take any form of payment other than their salary. Caught and it's immediate life sentence in prison. Also, term limits and age limits. 2. No nationwide public transportation. High-speed trains up and down the eastern seaboard, Miami to Boston, Charlotte to Atlanta to Birmingham to Nashville to Chicago to St. Louis to Denver ECT. 3. UBI and UHC would pull almost everyone out of poverty and horrible living conditions. 4. The most important. Education. 100% free, no exceptions. If you want to learn, there's a way for you to. $$ should have no bearing on how much education a person has access to. Healthcare. Particularly how it handles maternal health care and maternity leave. America is downright barbaric. Mass incarceration and what seems like little will to change this at the state level. A lot of bad, seemingly unconnected things seem to lead back to Reagan. Not being able to talk to people with complete opposing viewpoints without feeling personally attacked. Whatever happened to sticks and stones? You getting mad at the other person doesn't really do anything except make you lose whatever you were trying to talk about. You don't have to sway the person to 100% your side, even just getting them closer to middle is a win. All you have to do is listen to why the person thinks the way they do, then you can crush down any barrier. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. Carl Jung. Korea. Vietnam, Iraq, Iraq again, Afghanistan. Not being neutral in many world affairs, like Switzerland. It's no wonder the world resents how we use power and money to nudge countries so we get our way and somehow, end up involved in everyone else's wars. Exporting all of the manufacturing jobs, which were the backbone of the middle class, to slave wage countries. They did this to keep prices down for only one reason. So they wouldn't have to raise American wages or invest in American workers. They only needed American consumers to continue to buy their goods. When the price of goods go up in America, one would need to raise American wages so they could continue to afford the products they make. Rather than raise American wages, they exported manufacturing to lower wage countries so the product price remained unchanged and workers didn't need a raise. Compounded over decades, we find ourselves in the mess we're in. Allowing Reagan to introduce trickle-down economics, thus indoctrinating several generations into the belief if a C-level employees make more money, so will the working Joe and Jane. If you want to know why the days of people with high school degree level jobs could afford housing and retire are over, this is the singular event that unraveled it all. Failing to develop a reliable nationwide railroad and train transportation system and forcing us to rely on domestic aviation, effectively crippling aspects of infrastructure in various cities like LA. 1913, the Federal Reserve Act. Allowing private bankers to take over the money supply. Everything went to shit as a result. Domestically. It's infrastructure. American infrastructure is terribly designed and arguably the worst in the developed world. America's basic infrastructure is built on outmoded or outright false principles. Racially diverse neighborhoods are still segregated by infrastructural developments, urban sprawl continues to be a problem across the entire US and the US, personal transportation, rail network in comparison to other countries is next to non-existent. American roads are in notoriously bad condition, cities are more often than not clogged with ridiculous traffic and massive highways continue to be built inside of urban and suburban areas. Dozens upon dozens, and while I think our car-dependent infrastructure is a giant fuck-up, the lack of universal healthcare is the largest overall. Healthcare. How the fuck we don't give everyone healthcare? A portion of my salary goes to Medicaid but I still have to buy health insurance. Does that make sense? The poison that is allowed in all of our food that is knowingly banned in most other countries, lack of maternal postpartum care, insurance companies making medical decisions, it's hard to pick just one. Suburbia and car-based infrastructure. Leadership is celebrity. Sticking their nose in everyone's business. Slavery, crimes against humanity, genocide of the natives. They came and fucking shit up. Watch this be the most downvoted comment ever. In recent history its recognition and normalization of relations with the CCP. Had they not, and stuck to their anti-communist guns, it's likely the communist regime would have collapsed. But the US needed cheap manufacturing, so here we are. Hello. In recent times, the abolition of the fairness doctrine. Regards. Ari Agareski.